Welcome back, everyone. Of course, there has been updates with regards to Brian Mbeumo, but there has been a new development with regards to Manchester United looking for a number nine for the new season to come for Ruben Amorim. And as you already see in the thumbnail, it is Dusan Vlahovic that we will be talking about from Juventus, and they would like to do a swap deal or have given Man United the option for one of three players, and Vlahovic is included in those three for a deal for Sancho. Now, of course, Manchester United do want money for Jadon Sancho. They do value him at £25 million. But the option that Juventus has given Man United seems to be something that can be used in the mindset of killing two birds with one stone. You'll be getting rid of a player with high wages in Jadon Sancho, and of course, we know he's been a problem for the club, not just for the club but also for the managers, of course, with some of his teammates, etc. So it would be good to offload Jadon Sancho in that regard. And on the other hand, you bring in a striker that most likely can and would answer your problems with regards to scoring goals. Now, yes, I did speak about Mbeumo in the beginning of the video, and according to reports, it has been said that we're going to be tabling a third bid to Brentford for Brian Mbeumo. So let's see what happens with that. I do think that they will be accepting this bid. They're looking for something close to £70 million. So maybe we just pay the money and move on. Maybe we walk away if they don't accept the bid. So let's see what happens with that. But back to Juventus and Manchester United in a potential swap deal. So other than Dusan Vlahovic, who we will speak about in due course, and why I think he would be a good fit for Manchester United, and why I think that it would be a very good buy or a swap deal if we manage to do take that option. The other player is Douglas Luiz. For those who don't know him, but for those who do remember him, he was a midfielder for Aston Villa, did quite well in midfield for them. One of the players that you could look at perhaps wanting to play in midfield, alongside Ugarte, maybe even alongside Bruno or Casemiro. It is a player that, can improve Manchester United's midfield. But we are looking at a striker before we're looking to bring a midfielder in. So I don't think that really is something Manchester United are going to be looking to do. The other player is Timothy Weah, the USA international, who can play as a striker, but most likely would play as a left winger. We don't play with any wingers, and I don't think he'll be playing as a number 10 on the left or the right. And if he did come in as a striker, it's no different to having Hoyland there or bringing in a Hugo Ekitike. It's an unproven player, a player with not that much experience, at the top level, in my opinion. But with Dusan Vlahovic, you have a player who can score goals, has shown a history of scoring goals, very, very strong in terms of holding up the ball, has a very, very good shot on him in terms of long range shots, has a bit of an eye for a free kick as well. There's been many goals where he scored from direct free kicks. He can, use his presence in the air because of his height, because of his stature. And I do think that because he has the style of play where he likes to have layoffs, play 1-2s with the midfielders and the players around them, trying to put them into better positions. He's also very good at that. And he gets his assists by doing those type of movements, linking up with his teammates, which might be closer to a Xerxes, but he's more of a goal scorer than a Joshua Xerxes, and would basically be that focal point for Ruben Amorim and the team. So I do think this deal could be a good deal for Manchester United if they choose to take the option. As I said, Manchester United want to have money for Jadon Sancho first rather than looking to entertain a swap deal, even though it is a striker that can be an option for Manchester United. We know that Gyökeres, the talks with him have gone a bit cold. His priority is Arsenal, and maybe they are getting closer to signing him. There has been reports of Arsenal close to a verbal agreement with Gyökeres, so let's see what happens with regards to that. But again, it's difficult to say that Manchester United are going to sign a Gyökeres or a Victor Osimhen or even Hugo Ekitike because of the prices and the finances involved with those players. It's not to say we don't have the money. It's just a matter of if we choose to take that option, then it becomes a matter of going all in for those type of players. But of course, the focus is on Brian Mbeumo. The club, and I think United wants to get that deal done first. and then we will look to try and bring in a striker. And if it does come down to bringing in Vlahovic on a swap deal, I won't be, in my opinion, disappointed with that. I think it would be a shrewd but a very good move for Manchester United. He's still quite young, only 25, so there is room for development and improvement. But of course, he must come in to be ready to go, ready to start from the first game of the season. And in terms of injuries, for those who have that type of thought about any player coming to Manchester United, he does stay fit for quite a long time in the seasons. So fitness in terms of injuries is not a problem when it comes to Dusan Vlahovic. It will just come down to whether United and Ruben Amorim find him as the right person to play and start for Manchester United up front. Of course, this is all dependent on Hoyland leaving the club, because if Hoyland is still at the club, it's going to be, in my opinion, difficult to bring in a number nine. That number nine needs to be better than Hoyland. It needs to be a number nine that is one more experienced, has scored goals in the past recently. Needs to be a player that will be benching Rasmus Hoyland. The bar isn't that high, let's be honest. Hoyland hasn't really pulled up any trees at Old Trafford since he's arrived. So it's not to say that we just need a striker just better than him. No, we do need someone to come in that will give us guaranteed goals as a striker. There was reports of United looking at Ollie Watkins, and he was moved onto the list as well as a potential striker that Manchester United want to get. But again, it is dependent on Hoyland leaving the club. There is interest in Italy, and Inter Milan most likely are the team that wants Rasmus Hoyland, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be going to Inter Milan. So let's see what happens in that regard. But I'm sure if the offer is good enough, then Man United will definitely be looking to move Rasmus Hoyland on. Of course, there has been a bit of talk about Rashford as well. Bayern Munich have inquired about him and are genuinely interested in him, according to various reports coming out of Germany. So again, if we can get money for Rashford, if we can get money for Sancho, it puts us in a good position to go and get a striker for Manchester United, which might not necessarily be Dusan Vlahovic. It could be a Gyökeres. It could be an Osimhen if the finances are there. Like I said, I do not think we're going to be going for Hugo Ekitike because of his 85 million valuation that Frankfurt, have put onto him as a player. So let's see what happens. But it's all about Dusan Vlahovic and his potential swap with Sancho, between the two of them, Juventus to Manchester United and vice versa. But let's see what happens with that. Thank you for joining me in today's video. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and of course, let me know in the comments what you think about Dusan Vlahovic as a player, and if you think, like me, if it is a good fit for Manchester United and what Ruben Amorim is trying to do at Manchester United. Have a wonderful day further. Till we see each other again soon, Red Devils. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.